Legacy and your superstation Joy 99.7 FM, proudly sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, MTN, Ghana's #1 network, and our print media partner, the Graphic Business. Thank you for joining us on Joy 99.7 FM and live on Facebook. My name is Albert Okran, and on behalf of the virtual academic board chaired by Comfort, with support from Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, Jojo, and Emmanuel, I welcome you to our discussion on the impact of digitization on banking. So tonight, one simple question: which one do you use more, the banking hall, the ATM, or your mobile app? I have loads of responses on Facebook. Which one do you use often or more, the banking hall, the ATM, and the mobile app? I'm going to bring you the answers very shortly from those who have responded on my Facebook wall. How many of us still visit the traditional banking hall, and how often do you go in a month? Send your views by WhatsApp, if you will, on 02499995555. In today's Data is King segment, Comfort will give us the numbers on the changing face of business, and you don't want to miss that one. In our Game Changer segment today, Jojo tells us a story of an unorthodox approach that brought the result in a very pressing situation. It's on the point of view, how you view a particular situation. But before I introduce my guests tonight, let's go on to our quote for the day. And Comfort, what do we have as our quote for today?
Well, our quote for today comes from management guru Peter Drucker. He says, "The enterprise that does not innovate ages and declines. And in a period of rapid change such as the present, the decline will be fast."
Right. So any enterprise that does not innovate is simply ages. And then it declines.
Yeah.
The business becomes an old business. It's Comfort. It sounds almost like innovate or die. I mean, why is that so important for businesses?
Well, Peter Drucker died in 2005. That's 14 years ago. So if he was concerned that there was rapid change at that time, you can imagine that presently the change is even more rapid. Digital disruption is occurring at an exponential rate today. So it is more imperative for businesses to embrace technology and innovation.
Right. And that's actually what we are discussing on the show tonight. And we are joined by two friends of Springboard and from EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. And as you know, EcoBank is at the very heart of digitization and banking innovation. They are championing the use of technology in banking. I mean, I'm a frequent happy user of the EcoBank mobile app. And as you know, the mobile app is the multiple award winner in innovation, winning the CIMG Product of the Year for the year 2018. And I have here on the show tonight two leaders from EcoBank. Alfred Sichi is the regional head of commercial banking for EcoBank Ghana and Anglophone West Africa. And I have Kingsley Adofo-Addo, the head of SME unit at the commercial banking sector in EcoBank. Alfred and Kingsley, welcome to Springboard.
Thank you very much.
Is congratulations in order for the CIMG Awards?
Yes, it is.
All right, so accept our congratulations from the Springboard team for those awards. I think you scooped a couple of them, apart from being the product of the year. 2 times EcoBank has been voted the Hall of Fame bank on the CIMG. Accept our congratulations and send it also to the team at EcoBank. How
Thank
big?
you very much.
In Comfort's submission, she talks about the fact that it's literally urgent from Peter Drucker's point of view for companies to innovate, to hit the ground, to move. From where you sit in the banking industry, how critical is this discussion that we are having? Even before we settle to the details, how important is this discussion?
I think the point cannot be overemphasized. And indeed, what we see around tells us that we also have to innovate across industry. It's not even in banking alone, but we see it as something that is a global phenomenon. And we also have to tap into that opportunity. So it's now the norm. It's not just something that we say is exceptional. Now that is the way forward. And for every single activity, we need to consider digitization because that is a way forward.
So they say innovate or die. What does it mean? What do the numbers say? According to PwC's 2017 Digital Banking Consumer Survey, 46% of today's global consumers use digital channels exclusively for their banking. 46% exclusively digital. I called a friend in the UK as we were building up to this week's show, and he says, I did a test on solely digital bank this week, and he says he just signed up online, and by the next day he had his card. And I say, wow, our world is changing, our iceberg is melting, and who moved our cheese? That's what we are discussing tonight. Let me bring you some numbers about people who are watching on Facebook and what they are saying about how often they go to the banking hall or how often they use ATMs, and how many are saying that they use mobile app. So I have the first, let me give the first 20 comments. So Lawrence Kwafu says mobile app, Nita Tete says ATM, Favorite Prince says the mobile app. And the question is simple: which one do you use more, the banking hall, the ATM, or the mobile app? Gloria Lamte says mobile app, Kofi Nketia says mobile app, Harold Adefio says mobile app, Israel Apeto Sigun says mobile app, Abeku Graham Banaman says ATM, Kwame Bafo says mobile app, Samuel Mafu says mobile app, Mami Safua says ATM, and nobody's mentioning, and probably on the 20th, somebody's Isaac Amoyal says business transactions, banking hall, personal transactions, ATM. So let's ask you, are these numbers surprising you? Let me go to you, Kingsley.
Okay. For me, thank you, Albert. For me, I don't think it's really surprising. And one would say, when you wake up in the morning, what do you touch first?
And the answer is?
It's your phone.
Right.
And that is the convenience people.
For me, it's my Bible.
It's your Bible. well, the Bible is on your phone. Because for me, for one, my Bible is on my phone.
My wife is looking at me. She wanted me to see I touch my wife first.
Anyway, so for me, that is certainly not surprising. Everybody is looking for convenience.
Right.
Everybody is looking for the smart and easiest way to carry out their everyday, being it transaction, being it even reading, being it anything you'd want to think about the human race now. It's more in the palm of our hands. And so those numbers are not surprising. And the last comment was talking about business banking, personal ATM. And even with regards to business, is also a big question. If business people were to dial in or send their comments, I believe we would see the trend following the same, more on digital than the physical.
It is obvious that the more solutions that we come up with and the more answers we find to the needs of the customer, exactly, the less they would actually travel all the way to use the banking hall. Indeed, the ATM is really next to the banking hall or in the public place, but the mobile app allows you to lie in the comfort of your bed and to live the life. Let me give you another comment that you will find interesting before we even go down to the details of our conversation. So Hadiza Kwanzaa says, I recently entered my main bank and I was shocked how the place had changed with lots of faces. I hardly go there unless my ATM card expires. I love my card. He's laughing. He says, I don't go to the bank unless I want to change my card. What does it say about the interface between customers and us? Is it that they don't want to see us?
No, it is not about they not wanting to see us, but it's about the convenience that is available to them now.
Right.
Yes. I mean, now, as Kingsley said, I mean, just by your a touch of on your phone, you are able to access whatever services you need to do. I recall, for some of us who are a little older, some of us started banking over 25 years ago, and way back, I mean, it was so manual that even if you needed your statement, you'd have to get someone to write every little item on the statement and then have it signed off before you even send it out for whatever you want to do. If you need your balance, you have to travel to the bank. And when you get to the bank, you have to be in a queue. I mean, all these are issues that were of the past. But now with digitization, it's so convenient. On your own, you don't need to go to the bank for anything. It's only when maybe you need a visa and you want a statement signed. Otherwise, you could even just access your own statement at any point in time and use it for whatever you want to do. You can pay your bills. Several transactions can be done using your.
So they say the proof of the value proposition is in the numbers.
Yes.
The proof that something is benefiting people is how many people are engaging the service. And the information we have is that about 1.5 million, almost 1.5 million people are signed up to the app. For a population of 27 million in Ghana, that is huge.
It is.
Give us a sense of how well people are responding to the use of mobile technology in banking.
Okay. I think just as you pointed out, the EcoBank mobile app has currently over 1.4 million onboards. And out of that, we have about 350,000 people who are actively utilizing the platform.
Right.
So if you look at the fact that it's taking us close to about 28 years to come up with about 800,000 in terms of customers. And within 2 years, we've been able to onboard 1.4 million and still counting.
Almost double.
Yes,
right.
Double. And then even the utilization numbers, 350,000 against 800,000 over a period of 28 years. It tells you that the potential is great. And that is what we all have to be looking at.
Right. If you just joined us, this is a discussion about banking and how it is changing. The landscape of banking is changing, not just in Ghana, but across the world. I am joined in the studios by two friends from EcoBank, Alfred Sechi and Kingsley Adofu Ado. Both of them are in commercial banking. Alfred heads the unit and Kingsley focuses on SME. So if you are an SME tonight, please stay tuned because you don't know what Kingsley will do. I mean, the last time I was with EcoBank in Cape Coast, all of a sudden they started giving out things on the show, and people were winning all over the world, including somebody from Italy who won money on his mobile app, Express account, instantaneously. So please, just stay tuned. I don't know what will happen. Just stay tuned and enjoy the show. All right, so let me give you some other statistics that are available to us. Online banking popularity in the UK has increased steadily from 52% in 2012 to 74% in 2018. Absolutely amazing. Now let's go to yourselves. I mean, when you look at the industry globally, digitization is shaping the way organizations operate, how they interact with their customers, how they interface with them. I mean, churches, political parties, businesses, schools. There are schools, visa collection.
Yeah.
There are, several embassies just don't accept physical cash. You just need to do it digitally. How is this evolving within your industry, which is banking? Alfred.
Okay. Thank you, Albert. I think as I said earlier on, if you want to look at the evolution, then you want to look at where we have come from. Banking had moved from typically manually oriented processing to digitization, which is what virtually every bank is looking at doing. I recall that back in the day, we were using ledger cards. You would want to do your transaction and you have to send your check to the counter. They go into a ledger room, look for the file, pick your ledger card, which was so laborious. And then they put the check on your ledger card, look for your balance, write it manually. At the close of the day, there was something they called whist, which was more like the central point where every single entry had to be done. And then it is balanced before we know whether the day had even gone well or not. We moved on and started computerization. Initially, computers were just for entries. And then virtually, they were not even networked because if you are for a particular branch, let's say EcoBank, and you are the head office, your account was domiciled there, and so if you want to do a transaction, you cannot move to another branch to do it until we moved on to network, where we became more or less a bit connected. So all the branches were connected, so you could go to one branch and access your account wherever it was located. Then eventually we improved upon that, stepped up a little. Now we got into a situation where we started using ATMs and POS, which also eventually became, something that clients were much comfortable with. And now we have moved on because banking is dynamic. And now we are talking about using our mobile phones as our banks. So let me say that we started from a purely manual position to a semi-automated system, and now to a fully automated system. Even though we are not there yet, we see that there is a vast improvement. And I think across all banks, it's not only EcoBank.
Right.
Across the industry, this is what it is now.
I'm going to ask Kingsley to look into the crystal ball and predict how the future is going to look like, because I mean, I'm just so sure that what we are championing here today, probably some other countries hit those areas a couple of years ago. So it's not very difficult to look at what others are doing and see that in a couple of years we'll be at that same point. And who knows, in some spaces like mobile, I know in mobile banking, for instance, we are ahead of most jurisdictions. But Kingsley, when you look at what is happening elsewhere, can you predict what is likely to happen in banking in the future? Maybe I could just look at you and then I'll transfer money to you.
Yeah, I think the last comment you made, it's a reality. Because today, even if you pick your phone, and if you're using an Apple phone or even a Samsung recent versions, you can unlock your phone looking at the phone. Or you can unlock the phone using biometrics.
Right.
Now, I foresee tomorrow being a time where you don't necessarily need a PIN code, okay, to access financial services. With robots and all of that coming into play, there's going to be a lot of automation at the back end to create further convenience for the customer at the front end. So it is the way forward. Digitization and looking at artificial intelligence. Nowadays, we talk about the buzzword is blockchains, which scares me though. However, you would look at that and to see the possibility of blockchains helping us accelerate transactions, helping us further take away the minor manual transactions that we still have within the sector. So the future is scary.
Well, they say the things that scare us are also the things that help us. I'm going to put Kofi also in Shira. He's a collaborator. He works with all these banks to provide the services that we enjoy, to give us a collaborator's perspective of what we should be expecting as we engage with payment systems going forward. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I think we should hit very soon. When we're looking at Isaac Amoya's comment about business banking, he goes to the banking hall, but personal banking is definitely mobile app. I realize that when it comes to collection, when it comes to payment, we've not as yet hit it with the convenience that is available with withdrawals, transfers, and so on. Let me give you an example. So recently, I mean, in the US, just visiting with friends, I realized that no matter which bank you receive a check from, you don't have to move from your kitchen, your hall, or your wherever. Just take your mobile phone, take a picture of the check from your app, and immediately it is paid. It was just, I just started and said, Charlie Dubbing. Because once we get the payment sorted out, then the interface with the banks is significantly reduced. It reduces transaction cost and therefore makes it even more convenient. That is one thing that I think.
But Albert, if I may add, even in the now, with regards to EcoBank, you know what we have called the Omni Light or Omni Banking. Now,
tell me about Omni Banking.
So Omni Light, from the commercial banking's perspective, it's housing all the other services, as you mentioned, payments, collection, investment, and transaction banking services in one location. Now, with the Omni Light, time is no more a hindrance to your banking. So supposing you need to pay a supplier, as a business now, you might want to hurry up to get to the bank before 4 o'clock, else you will not be able to process a transaction. With regards to Omni Light, that same convenience the customers are enjoying now, in the comfort of your office, you can initiate a payment irrespective of time. If it's within EcoBank, it would hit the account in real time. If it's another bank, within the clearing period, it would hit that said bank account as well.
How do you initiate that?
You initiate that using your either on internet, if you have access to internet, or you have a mobile phone, you can go on, log in onto the EcoBank app, log on your PIN code, your password, commercial banking, your PIN code and your password. You access the platform and initiate the transaction.
I still want to stick with the issue of lodgements, payments into the bank. So somebody paid me checks, cash. I want to lodge it into the bank. How has digitization engulfed or made that one easier? Is it something that is in the offering, or is it something that we have been able to break through in? Can people, for instance, pay money into the bank after banking hours? Can they pay from the comfort of their homes?
I would say with EcoBank, pay money into your banking account is possible, irrespective of time. We have across the country over 1,000 express points. Now, an express point is a franchise of the EcoBank brand, where you can go there and make deposits or withdrawals from your bank account. So from these locations, you will have that 24-hour service to make deposits or withdrawals. Now, these express points are like businesses. Some are corner shops, some are retail distribution outlets, some are filling stations and supermarkets. So these are locations within our community, and creating further that convenience for you not to worry again about time. For me, time is critical to the extent that I need not to be constrained by time to carry out a transaction. Is critical, and again, it's a plus within the evolutions within our sector.
26 minutes past the hour of 7. If you just joined us, this is a discussion about digitization and how it has transformed the banking landscape. My friends are from EcoBank, Kingsley and Alfred, and they helped me to understand. Did I get it right? Alfred and Kingsley, yes, helped me to understand how EcoBank has pioneered several interesting innovations, and I'm trying to prompt them about what does the future look like. And one thing that is emerging is that when it comes to personal banking, we have a plethora of solutions. When it comes to corporates, we've made progress, but the area of being able to lodge money in the bank that I have just received, there's some more ground that we could cover, and I'm sure our innovations team will start cracking their heads about how to make sure those checks can be paid right from the comfort of my office or of my home. What is your own experience? So far, it's only one person who's telling us that they go to the banking hall more frequently. Mobile app is leading by about 80%, and then about 19% or 18% is ATMs, and banking hall is just some 2% or 1%. Is it that people don't go to the banking halls at all? Kofi Osu Ishra is on the line, helping us to understand what to expect next with this rapid evolution of payment systems. Kofi, good evening.
Good evening, Albert.
Kofi, how critical is this discussion? You head in Sano, you support the banks, you work as a partner with them to make it possible for them to help us to achieve these objectives. How critical is this discussion today that we are having with our friends from EcoBank?
Albert, thank you for having me on. This is a very seminal conversation as far as the present ecosystem is concerned. As you may see, and as your panelists have already alluded to, there is a certain deliberate transformation of banking services in Ghana. You see, so the first and, if you like, most important process in banking, which is the identification of the personality of the customer, who the customer is, itself has been totally digitized. So what's typically called Know Your Customer or KYC has been digitized. So currently, you don't have to go for the bank to identify you and to determine whether you are who you say you are, because there are a plethora of options from facial recognition to ID card verification and so on. So it's a seminal conversation. Now, core services that banks traditionally perform, which, if you like, is also the bedrock of the banking business model, has been digitized, which is account opening. So now there is what we call the remote account opening. All the banks I've opened between 2018 and 2019, I've never had to walk physically into a banking hall to open these accounts, and like the EcoBank team has mentioned. So it's an interesting area that is seeing a lot of transformation, a lot of digitization. I think there are very interesting trends that we are beginning to see in this space.
Let's talk about the benefits to both parties. I mean, is this a win-win situation, or is it a disruption that the banks should be scared of? Because very often when we talk about technology and innovation, it's made to sound like if you don't do it, you will die. You will see. It's almost like it's supposed to scare the players in the space about what could happen to them if they don't conform. But really, is this a win-win such that the banks win, the customer wins, the government wins, everybody wins? Or do some people win and do some people lose in this particular development of digitization?
I think it's a win-win. It's totally win-win for the customer and for the bank itself. So you take a look at something that's happening in the area of lending, for example, and you look at how banks determine who to lend money to these days. Very advanced artificial intelligence platforms have been built that determine the credit worthiness of a customer. So the bank doesn't end up giving a loan to a customer that is not credit worthy. These lending mechanics also use various credit scoring models that are patterned after how the customer thinks and his income, his ability to pay, his penchant for buying, if you like, ostentatious goods and so on. So the bank gets to know the customer and give the customer what the customer is able to afford to pay back. So it's totally win-win for the bank and for the customer. If you take a look at what Loan Logic does in Europe, for example, or what NK, which is a fully digitized bank, that's in Europe as well, you'd see that gradually it's coming at so much convenience to the customer. The customer is having a plethora of options at any point in time, because then from the mobile phone he's able to determine which bank he should transact with. He's able to move money in between banks or deposit funds into bank accounts without even having to move from the comfort of their homes and so on. So it's come a real convenience for banks. And for me, from where we sit at Insano, and with the research that we have done, we've realized that in terms of loan defaults, digitization has reduced loan defaults by some interesting 15% over the past year. For the banks that have started using credit scoring to, if you like, determine who they give loans to and so on. We've also realized that a lot of costs that would have gone into stationery are beginning to reduce. So if I don't have to print out a product application form like we used to have those days, and I could just, over a USSD or over a mobile banking application, either Android or iOS, I'm able to select a particular product or request for a loan or, do a treasury or an investment product, etc. Then it comes to the customer at, conveniently, but it also comes to the bank as a way of reducing their costs of, reducing those overheads. And so I think banks are beginning to, if you take a look at checkbooks, for example, gradually, and we have seen that with two of banks we work with at Insano, that with the remote check deposit product, banks now are giving the customers the opportunity to remotely, deposit checks. So you take a picture of a check somebody has brought to you, and then you just, have it deposited in your account without having to travel to the bank. And gradually you're realizing that checks themselves are being replaced. So people don't have to be printing checks.
Let me take your thoughts on. Right. You mentioned two things that caught my attention big time. And the first one was about credit scoring and being able to reduce non-performing loans. That's a huge issue, especially in the light of the recent developments in the banking sector. Then you also mentioned the cutting of the costs, because profitability is why we are all in business. And so you give the indication that digitization leads to reduced cost for these banks. Let me just wrap this one up from your end by looking at the future. You mentioned Europe, and you mentioned a couple of banks that are disrupting the space in Europe. Our research shows that a Monzo bank account is opened every 11 seconds. 11 seconds. Right. And the numbers are just phenomenal. These challenge banks leading the digital revolution are Revolut N26, and they have a combined 7.5 million customers in the UK only. What is happening is this, that people are finding these digitization as an easy way to engage, and the global fintech market size in 2018 reached 111 billion. a staggering 120% increase on 2017 when the market was worth 50 billion. Kofi, what is the future in the light of fintech, in the light of innovation? What's the future of banking from where you sit?
From what I said, banking is becoming branchless, and very soon, every single brick and mortar infrastructure that banks are investing in will become archaic. They will become a thing of the past. Customers will increasingly place a demand on their financial institution partners to become more technologically inclined. We think that in the future, short-term future, this is a year to 2 years, we are seeing customers moving totally from using banks for the traditional purposes that they use banks for today to using banks just as reference points or testimonial purposes, basically.
The exciting thing that my friends from EcoBank are mentioning is the banking made easy and made convenient in your convenience shops. What do you call them? Access points? Express points. Tell me your thoughts about Express Point before you go. The fact that you can walk into your filling station, you walk into your convenience shop and it's there, right there for you. What do you think about that?
The EcoBank Express Point, Albert, is one of the most phenomenal agency banking products that I've seen at least rolled out between 2018 and 2019. And I've mentioned to some other officials of EcoBank, including some of their persons in consumer, that I think it is the future of agency banking. So now the person with whom I buy my groceries also serves as a place where I can deposit funds and perhaps do some even withdrawals. And we think it's the future of how agency banking is supposed to be.
Thank you very much, Kofi Osu Inshira, the CEO of Insano, joining us with your thoughts as we explore how the stakeholders, how the partners are also viewing this radical change in banking. I'm going to go for a brief commercial break. When I come back, let's look at the SDGs. Let's look at the global picture of where the world is going and how these innovations in banking tie into the global picture of the future. Please don't go away. But by the way, how often do you yourself enter the banking hall? Let's know so we can tell our friends from EcoBank whether they should expect you this week, next week, or next 2 weeks. By the way, are you a trader or a merchant looking to grow your business? Then now is the time to grow faster and go further with EcoBank's Digi Banking Pack. The EcoBank Digi Banking Pack is designed specially with the growth of your business in mind. Benefits include zero opening balance, no monthly service charges, automatic access to EcoBank's payment and collection solutions, and a loan of up to 200,000 cedis and much more. The EcoBank Digi Banking Pack also comes with capacity building and financial literacy programs to empower you to grow your business. To find out more about how to grow faster and go further with a bank that understands your business, visit the nearest EcoBank branch, call toll free on 3225 or contact us on digipackgh@ecobank.com. EcoBank mobile app CIMG product of the year 2018. EcoBank 2 times CIMG Hall of Fame bank, and definitely EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Let's do a brief message from our partners. When I come back, how does this whole digitization fit into the global picture of our development? And what is the data is king segment saying about disruption? And by the way, what is that radical approach that was used to get a result in a remote country far away? Talking about radical approach, I remember something that I found out about Bishop Dag Heward-Mills and about radical approaches. It was said that when I went to first year, it was said that the year before there was lights off and he was walking through from Annex A to Annex B in Legon Hall. And when the lights went off, he clapped and said, friends, hello, attention. Just as the lights have gone off in the Annex and in Legon, the lights can go off in your life. Give your life to Jesus. He stood right in the middle of the two annexes, and that was a crusade. Just like that. That is how to use unorthodox approaches to get results. How do you get results? Let's find out from Jojo how to get results with an unorthodox approach. Please don't go away.
This is a pre-boarding announcement. appointment for MTN Pulse and Chill Flight 567 to Dubai. Keep browsing and talking with your MTN Pulse bundle to stand the chance of winning an all-expense paid trip to Dubai. You can also win Bose headsets, 4G devices, and more from now to 30th November. Send check to 567 or use the MTN Pulse app to check your points today. We'll see you in Dubai.
MTN Pulse. Just be. Terms and conditions apply. We day for you everywhere you go.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Wale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Massa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
And Springboard is the virtual university. We are joined by listeners from all across the world as we enhance our personal value on a week after week basis. And if you are listening to us tonight, you either are joining us on Joy FM or you are joining us on Facebook. And this discussion is brought to you by Legacy and Joy 99.7 FM with proud sponsorship from EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, MTN, Ghana's #1 network, and the graphic business providing print media support. Look out on page 18 of the graphic business for the Springboard article every single week, and it's going to be right there on page 18 in the graphic business. Let's find out, is your competitor really in your industry? If you thought your competitor was the person in the same industry, think again, because in this Data is King segment, Comfort gives us an idea about the changing face of business. Comfort, what do we have for listeners today?
Well, 2017 survey of global banking executives by the IBM Institute of Business Value gave the following insights. 66% of executives surveyed said the traditional value chain were being replaced. 57 of them do agree that the boundaries between 57% do agree that the boundaries between industries are blurring, while 61% see competition coming from new and unexpected places. A 2018 report by McKinsey as well indicates that fintech startups are becoming a significant force in the financial industry. In the US, for example, their estimated value is $120 billion. The equivalent of 7% of the total equity of US banks. They therefore identified uncertainty as one of the biggest challenges in the industry, especially for the bigger banks.
Interesting perspectives. Uncertainty. Let me come back to you, Alfred and Kingsley. Is uncertainty a motivation or a threat? Let me take from you, Alfred.
That's a very interesting question. For us at EcoBank, it's a motivation.
Right.
Because we try to think ahead. And so if you look at the industry in Ghana, I realize that we were the first, to start with this mobile app. And indeed, if you talk about EcoBank Pay, the QR codes, we have also far advanced in that area as well. So yes, the competition is not what we really see, because the fintechs are even eating our lunch. And so we need to find ways of working together with them. And that is what exactly EcoBank is doing. Over time, we have a lot of partnerships with these fintechs and we are working together. So we see them not as a threat, but we see them as collaborators who are also heading in the same direction. Because at the end of the day, we have to break down the barriers so that financial services will be all-inclusive and will be accessible to all.
Let's talk about poverty and ignorance. I mean, how well, with all respect, how well is the informal sector, those who you would not call the typically learned literate, how well are they embracing digital solutions for the banks?
Well,
because the real, Kingsley, the way we can really break the hold of poverty is when every single service, whether it's banking, healthcare, can be made available to the poorest of the poor, to the least of our people. So how well are these categories of people coming on board with some of these digital solutions that you are releasing year after year?
Yeah, thank you, Albert. And again, before we went on break, you mentioned on the SDGs, and surprisingly, when you scan all 17 SDGs, you do not see a mention of a savings account, access to loan, access to finance to grow your business. However, the financial services are critical for us to achieving any success with these SDGs. For instance, if you take a farmer would go through the whole cycle a year and come harvest, go to the market and to sell their produce. Go back home with the money and maybe keep it under its pillow.
Right.
Somebody takes it out and it goes to affect their ability to go back to the farm again, and the cycle goes on. However, with the advent of digitization today, the farmer has a phone, being it a YAM or a smartphone. With EcoBank's interventions and innovations, the farmer today can open what we call the express account. That money that somebody would have taken away, that would have affected its cycle of getting out of poverty, being able to access good health care, being able to provide for the well-being of its family. It becomes a thing of the past. And the numbers, as indicated earlier by Alfred, now on the mobile app alone, we have 1.2 million. And this 1.2 million, it's more of people who were formerly unbanked. And now with digitization, we are bringing them back into these circles. Again, other interventions that we've brought to play is what we call the EcoBank TB for All. Now, for one to improve their daily lives, to be able to move out of poverty, they should be able to save. And in the past, to get a treasury bill is a challenge. You need so much to invest in treasury bill. At EcoBank, we are saying with 5 CDs, one can invest in treasury bill. All you need to have is a mobile phone, have an express account, have a mobile number, and you can make that investment also a reality. Right. We talked about the express points, and
let me tell you my own perspective. I mean, next to the amazing revolution of the EcoBank banking mobile app, I personally think T-bills for all is the most revolutionary by far, by a wide mile. For reasons, for the past 12 years, Springboard has spent its time traveling around this country, doing 3 things: encouraging talent development, encouraging entrepreneurship, and encouraging investment. These are the 3 pillars that have driven our work for the past 12 years. So anything that makes investment accessible, anything that makes entrepreneurship available, anything that makes talent development possible, we are there. And honestly, the 2 things I like about the T-bills for all, one is the fact that the amount required to open it is small. But the second part I like is the most fascinating part, that it is convenient and it can be done on your phone. Exactly. That for me is the game changer. That is by far the game changer. It's 12 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. We're going to have the game changer segment. Once you say this is a game changer, we must have a game changer segment, and we'll find out about not clapping for evangelism like the great Bishop Dag Heward-Mills did at Legon, but a radical change that was done or made in a country in which potholes were becoming a nuisance. Jojo, what do we have in our game changer segment, and how can we leverage unorthodox methods to get the results that we seek? Take it away, Juju.
So, Yekaterinburg is actually Russia's 4th largest city, but it is one of the worst in terms of road quality. So in 2012, a local publication called Ura.ru took it upon themselves to get the awful roads fixed. They wrote several articles, but they had very little success in getting the politicians to act. So they decided to try a more innovative approach. Under the cover of night, they went around to 3 of the worst potholes and painted politicians' faces around them. They even painted their campaign promises to fix the roads to shame them into action. Spoiler alert, it worked. Within 24 hours, all 3 roads had been fixed. The campaign was so provocative that it was covered by 300 media outlets globally, and it doubled the traffic to Ura's website. So why did their guerrilla campaign succeed when well-reasoned arguments had failed? Today, our game changer is point of view. Ura succeeded because they put themselves in the politician's shoes and asked 2 critical questions. Number 1, what do politicians care about? Their reputations. Number 2, what do politicians want? Good publicity. They then leverage those.
Or what do they hate? Bad publicity.
Exactly. And then they leverage that point of view by associating the politicians' faces with the potholes. Essentially, the politicians' fear of reputational damage and bad publicity is what drove them to act. So in the month before the campaign, only 1.4 kilometers of road had been repaired, but in the month after, the rate of repair had increased by 500%. 500%. So how can we apply point of view in our businesses?
From Russia to Ghana.
Exactly. The development of solutions from the point of view of the customer is known as design thinking. And according to Forbes, every single dollar invested in design thinking creates $100 in return. Henry Ford alluded to the power of the point of view when he said, if there was any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from their angle as well as your own. This week, whether you're negotiating with people, designing digital banking products, or simply trying to understand people better, try to understand their point of view and discern their values and their desires. This has been the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
Wonderful. I'm going to paint something on something this week and see the results that we'll get. If you just join us, this is not the painting segment. This is the Springboard of Virtual University, and I'm here with Alfred Sechi and Kingsley Adofo-Addo from EcoBank as we talk about digitization and how it has totally radicalized the face of banking all over the country and all over the world. And so, what are the customers saying about this? What is their experience? All right, so I have Elolo Agleke on the line to give us a customer's experience about banking. Let's find out whether they are excited about digitization or they feel like it is taking something away from them. Elolo, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
So tell me, tonight we are talking about banking and you are starting the question with a question. Which one do you use the most? The banking hall, the mobile app, or the ATM?
I use the app and the ATM. I think the app most often.
So far, the app is leading by 60-something%.
Wow.
So per our little survey we are doing tonight, the app is leading by 66.7%, and that is 2 out of 3. The ATM is doing 27.8%, and the banking hall 5.6, 1 out of 20. Is that a reflection of your own experience, sir?
Yes, these days I hardly go to the banking hall, unless probably I go to the ATM. My cash is not with dispensed. I'll go there, but normally I don't go there anymore.
Let me find out from you, Lolo. Do you see digitization as an advantage for you as the user? Do you see it making things possible? Is it cutting back on your transaction cost?
Yeah, to some extent. It is more convenient, more friendly. Wherever I am, I can do what I want to do. It saves my time of going to join a queue and other things. Even these days, students that I work with prefer to pay by mobile money than going to a bank, wasting their lecture hours, and come out to the classroom. So I think personally, it's giving me a lot of advantage. Also, it's a little problems here and there, but I think overall, there's a good reason why I stick to that option.
You mentioned problems here and there. I know one thing about our friends from EcoBank. They listen very intently when their people come on the show. So the last time somebody called from Alaju and said they had a problem, within a few hours it was fixed. So please, if there are some problems, is it that the app sometimes doesn't work or what? Tell me, what are the problems?
Personally, I think once in a while, the issues about PIN renewal. I enter my PIN and as if I've entered an incorrect PIN. And sometimes too, the app freezes here and there. So I think as time goes on, this one can be improved upon it. And these days, too, I wish I could just talk to my app and get my transaction done instead of going to step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4 before I can get a cash dispense out. So I feel like I should just talk to the app, probably through an AI means or something, so that at least I can get my things done faster and easier for me. Maybe it might not be now, but probably in the future it will be possible.
Charlie, you do all. Hey, you want to talk to the app? Actually, Rafiki, does Rafiki allow you to talk to them? Right. So, EcoBank mobile app has an extension called Rafiki. You can talk to that one. But the app there, the Rafiki is more of AI. So,
okay.
Right. They are extending the Rafiki service to WhatsApp. Once that happens, Charlie, all over the world, wherever you are, you can participate.
That will be massive.
Right. So that's the next phase that we are looking at to make the things convenient for everyone. Okay. Thank you, Elolo, for those perspectives. All right, so as we wrap up, we have been talking tonight about banking and how radical it has been transformed with our friends from EcoBank, Alfred and Kingsley, and they have been sharing various innovations. As for me, I've told you the ones I'm excited about the most, and for obvious reasons. Once we can do that, it makes things easy for everyone. If we lower transaction cost and make it possible, we replicate the Susu model with technology and with a safe investment. So that one day, Charlie, it will work. Let me give you 3 recommendations from McKinsey, and then I'm going to come back to you to wrap up in half a minute. So McKinsey gives, as a follow-up to Comfort's presentation, on the revolutionized industries and the impact on banks of the fact that these days you can't even tell who your customer is, your competition is, and boundaries of industries are converging and so on. McKinsey makes 3 recommendations. Number 1, banks should tap into their existing client base and operational capability to widen their focus beyond their core product lines like accounts, cash management, credit, insurance, investment, etc., and consider non-banking services such as subscription management, voice and data, and mobility services for individuals. And so they are talking about banks possibly partnering with care providers and health insurers to provide billing platforms to make it easier for consumers to pay their medical expenses. Charlie Kingsley, that one, it comes straight to SME. In fact, it stays with your both of you commercial banking. Second recommendations, banks should additionally consider monetizing data. First, they should use internal data more effectively by adding new analytics capabilities. And secondly, create new offerings such as reports based on their data. And in doing that, they must have concern for privacy and legal issues. Third and final one, move into attacking mode from defensive mode. Move into attacking mode by employing digital channels and business models that can enable you to enter new geographical locations or market segments that have previously been expensive targets using traditional approaches. I think that the kiosk model speaks to this one.
Yes, indeed. The kiosk model speaks to that one. And also, with our ATMs, right, they are smart ATM. To extend that, intelligent ATMs, to extend that, you can send money to someone without necessarily using an ATM card. How do you do that? With the app, you can generate a token and send the token to the said individual. They go to any EcoBank ATM, touch the Express Cash mode, assess it, you put the token number in there, indicate how much is being withdrawn, and voila.
Please don't repeat this, because if you do, I'll get calls from my village after the show. It's 2 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. This has been Springboard, a virtual university, and coming up next is a walk with Jesus. And the question is simple: the ideal time to get married. It's a very beautiful topic. The guests, Reverend Dr. Samuel Kisiedu and Mrs. Erica Henry Obike, and the host is Reverend Ransford Abosi. Let me give half a minute to Alfred and half a minute to Kingsley. What should our customers take away? Is this a blessing or it is trouble and disruption? Your closing thoughts, Alfred first.
I think first and foremost, let me thank Springboard for this opportunity to be on the virtual university faculty for tonight.
Charlie, you are powerful.
Let me also say a big thank you to our customers who have really kept us and brought us this far. Indeed, this month is a customer appreciation month. So we would like to thank them, and we would just want to say that EcoBank will still be there for them. We'll continue to listen to them each day to innovate, because we don't want to die.
Right. So we want to say a big thank you to you, Kingsley and Alfred, for joining us, and we look forward to having you again. And as we explore the future, look at more radical things we can do together with banking. This has been Springboard of Virtual University. My name is Albert Okran, representing Comfort, Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, Emmanuel, and Jojo. Want to say a big thank you. Next week, Sunday, we have Dr. Patrick Ewua of Ashesi University as we talk about the African Excellence series. Stay with us till then, and good evening to you, Reverend Joshua Abbey, as you celebrate your 60th birthday. We thank God for your life, and we ask for his blessings upon your family in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.